Traffic spike detected, high latency, database bottleneck imminent. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into exactly how tech giants, companies like Amazon, Netflix, and Uber, manage to serve insanely complex requests literally instantly, without their entire systems just crashing under the weight of millions of users.
Picture this. You've got a shopping app, and it suddenly gets absolutely slammed. Millions of users are checking reviews and refreshing prices, all at the exact same millisecond. Without the right backend architecture, your database is going to groan, the APIs choke, latency spikes completely off the charts, and, well, the whole page just slows to a miserable crawl.
Okay, but now imagine that exact same system effortlessly serving those million requests every single second, with response times measured in mere milliseconds. Like blink and you miss it fast. This isn't magic, right? It's the pure, unadulterated power of the cache-aside pattern, which is an absolutely mandatory concept if you want to master modern software engineering.
Section 1. The database bottleneck. So, to prevent a total database collapse, we rely on caching. Think of a super busy restaurant kitchen. A good chef is going to store commonly used ingredients right next to the cooking station, right? They aren't going to walk all the way back to the storage room for every single order. Well, caching works exactly the same way. It dramatically improves your scalability by keeping crucial, frequently accessed data right there in fast, in-memory storage.
Section 2. Inside the cache-aside pattern. Let's look under the hood.
The mechanics here are actually brilliantly simple, but extremely powerful at scale. The application basically sits aside both the cache and the database. When a user requests data, the app independently checks the cache first. If it's not there, no big deal. It falls back to query the database. But crucially, it grabs a copy of that fresh data and stores it in the cache for next time, right before returning the response.
You'll notice a really stark contrast in performance here. The ultimate goal of this entire architecture is to aggressively maximize those ultra-fast cache hits on the left and ruthlessly minimize those slower, database-reliant cache misses on the right. It's all about playing the percentages. To pull this off at lightning speeds, modern systems rely on some incredibly powerful, purpose-built tech. Redis, for example, is an ultra-fast, in-memory distributed cache. Then you have Memcached, which gives you a simple, high-performance memory cache. Imagine a major video streaming platform using Redis to effortlessly serve up hot data, like trending movies or personalized user recommendations, saving the main database from just an enormous, crushing load.
Section 3. The cache invalidation problem.
Okay, so what's the biggest threat to this system? Well, cache data eventually gets outdated. For highly dynamic info, like livestock prices, caching them forever is a literal disaster. You have to configure what's called a time to live, or TTL. By setting a TTL of, let's say, 30 seconds, the system knows to automatically drop that stale data, which forces a fresh pull from the database.
And this brings us to a really famous and very true quote by Phil Carlton. There are only two hard things in computer science: cache invalidation and naming things. Keeping the cache perfectly synchronized with the database is surprisingly tough. If a product price changes in the database, the app has to manually update or delete the cache entry, or else users are going to see the wrong price. This manual sync is universally feared by engineers, for sure. Section 4. Surviving a cache stampede.
Now, if invalidation is a tough villain, a cache stampede can outright destroy your entire infrastructure. No joke. Imagine a highly popular item's TTL expires right in the middle of a massive traffic surge. Suddenly, that cache is completely empty and thousands of user requests simultaneously bypass it, just crashing into the poor database all at once. It's an absolute nightmare.
To survive, production systems protect themselves from these catastrophic stampedes using some pretty clever engineering tricks. We're talking strategies like request locking, which ensures only one request actually goes to fetch the data. Or using jittered TTLs, which basically adds a little bit of randomness to the expiration times. This perfectly staggers the database load so you don't get those massive simultaneous expirations.
And that actually brings us to a closely related infrastructure threat, the cold cache problem. Right after a big system deployment or a server restart, your cache starts out completely empty. So engineers have to actively brace for a temporary, really heavy spike in database traffic until that cache warms up and populates with all that hot data again.
Section 5. Distributed caches at scale.
Let's zoom out and look at a high-stakes, real-world scenario. Think about a major airline booking platform during the holiday rush. Without the cache-aside pattern, the sheer volume of flight search traffic would just obliterate the database. But with it, all those popular flight searches are served directly from a shared, distributed cache, keeping the entire backend perfectly stable. It's a real lifesaver.
Now, while cache-aside is definitely the industry favorite because of its flexibility, there are alternatives out there. Take a write-through cache, for instance. This pattern automatically updates the cache and the database at the exact same time during write operations. That totally prevents stale data, which is great, but it definitely ramps up the overall complexity of your architecture.
Section 6. System Design Mastery.
Because this pattern perfectly highlights the real-world trade-offs between latency and consistency, it is absolute gold for system design interviews. Trust me, interviewers are looking for production maturity here. They want to see that you can avoid those classic novice mistakes. Caching everything blindly, completely skipping your TTLs, or just ignoring the severe user experience disasters caused by stale data.
Instead, you want to really prove your maturity by discussing robust best practices. Talk about focusing on hot, read-heavy workloads. Discuss how you're going to diligently monitor your hit and miss ratios to actually prove efficiency. And confidently explain how you design the architecture to gracefully handle inevitable cache node failures. Because things will fail, and you need a plan for it.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, here's the critical takeaway I want to leave you with. Evaluate your own architecture. What database bottlenecks are secretly slowing you down right now? And when you design your next scalable system, what critical data will you cache first to survive your own million-request traffic spike? Think about it and start building faster backends.